Ford just did something that nobody saw coming. This is not a refresh. This is not a facelift. What you are looking at right now is a machine that was engineered to make every other muscle car on the planet feel like it belongs in a museum. The 2026 Ford Mustang GT500 has arrived, and once you understand what Ford has actually built here, you will never look at this nameplate the same way again. Welcome back to Premium Automotive Reviews, the channel where we go beyond the brochure, beyond the press releases, and beyond the surface-level numbers to tell you exactly what a car means, what it feels like, and whether it is worth every single dollar. If you have been with us before, you already know we do not waste your time with spec sheets. And if this is your first time here, stay with me, because by the time we finish, you are going to understand why this car might be the most important Mustang ever built. Let us start with what hits you first, because with this car, the first 5 seconds are everything. That exterior. Ford has taken the classic Mustang silhouette, the one that has lived in the cultural imagination for over 60 years, and they have stretched it, sharpened it, and draped it in a level of visual drama that should not be possible on a production vehicle. The body is lower, wider, and meaner than anything the GT500 has worn before. The roofline flows like liquid from the A-pillar all the way to the rear diffuser in one uninterrupted sweep, and it gives the car this almost coupe supercar quality that you simply do not expect when you hear the word Mustang. The obsidian black paint on this particular build is not just a color choice, it is a statement. It swallows light and reflects the world around it like a dark mirror, and then Ford layers in the gold. Not subtle gold, not a hint of bronze. Pure, unapologetic champagne gold trim running along the front splitter, the side skirts, the rear diffuser channels, and wrapping around those iconic taillights at the back. The contrast is extraordinary. It is the visual language of a car that knows exactly what it is. Those wheels deserve a paragraph of their own. The turbine-style forged alloys finished in rose gold with carbon fiber accents are unlike anything that has rolled out of Dearborn before. They are massive. They fill the arches completely, and the Mustang pony badge sits right at the center cap as if to remind you that this is still in its soul an American icon, just one that has been reimagined for a generation that demands more. The aerodynamic design of those wheels is not purely cosmetic either. Ford's engineers worked the spoke geometry to manage airflow around the brake hardware, which at this performance level runs extremely hot under sustained driving. Speaking of the front end, lean in close and you will notice the headlights have evolved into something genuinely futuristic. The LED signature strips fire in a sequential lighting pattern at startup, a kind of digital hello that feels personalized each time you approach the car. The hexagonal grille has been precision cut for maximum airflow, with the running horse emblem floating at the center, gold accented and commanding. The front splitter in carbon fiber and gold trim pushes the nose downward at speed and gives the entire face of the car an aggressive, planted aggression that communicates performance before you ever hear the engine. From above, and these aerial shots reveal this beautifully, the hood scoop is no longer just decoration. The twin extraction vents feed cool air directly into the intake system and vent heat away from the engine bay, and the carbon fiber hood skin keeps the weight down where it belongs. Ford has thought about every single surface on this car as both a functional and aesthetic element simultaneously. Now, open the door, and this is where the story becomes deeply personal. The interior of the 26 GT500 is the single most dramatic upgrade Ford has ever made to this car. You step in and the cockpit does not feel like an evolution of the old GT500 cabin. It feels like a completely different philosophy. Black leather everywhere, stitched in gold thread with the kind of precision you would associate with handcrafted European luxury. The carbon fiber dash architecture runs from door to door, and embedded within it is a widescreen digital cluster and an infotainment display that together create a seamless glass surface stretching across most of the dashboard. The center console is finished in brushed gold with the GT500 badge illuminated underneath the gear selector. Ambient lighting runs along the door panels and footwells in selectable hues, and at night the interior becomes a genuinely cinematic space. But none of this luxury is soft or fragile feeling. Everything you touch has structural integrity, a weight and a solidity that makes the car feel engineered, rather than decorated. The infotainment system is powered by Ford's most advanced software platform to date. The interface is fluid, responsive, and built around the idea that a driver should never have to look away from the road for more than a moment. Wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto connect instantly. The navigation system learns your preferred routes. The audio system, which fills every panel and surface with perfectly tuned sound, delivers what audiophiles would call a concert hall experience inside what is unmistakably a performance car. And then there is the over-the-air update capability, which means the car you buy in 2026 will not be the same car in 2028. Ford can push performance calibrations, interface improvements, and new features directly to the vehicle while it sits in your driveway overnight. The driver assistance suite in this GT500 represents Ford's most complete integration of active safety and performance intelligence yet. Adaptive cruise control with stop-and-go capability, lane centering, blind spot monitoring with rear cross-traffic alert, and a 360-degree camera system that stitches a bird's-eye view so clean you could park this car in a tunnel. What makes these systems feel premium rather than intrusive is that Ford has tuned them to stay out of the way when you are pushing the car and step in with precision when you actually need help. That balance is genuinely difficult to engineer, and Ford has largely gotten it right. And now, the powertrain, because this is where every conversation about the GT500 must eventually arrive. Underneath that sculpted hood lives a supercharged 5.2-liter flat-plane crank V8, and in the 2026 configuration, it produces somewhere in the territory of 900 horsepower. Let that number breathe for a second. 900 horsepower in a car that you can buy from a Ford dealership. The engine note, which you can hear through the quad exhaust tips finished in gold, is thunderous at full throttle and an almost theatrical rumble at idle. Ford has tuned the exhaust to have a voice, a personality, and at the push of a button you can choose between a civilized daily driver exhaust tone and the full, uncorked acoustic drama that makes neighbors very aware of your morning departure. The rear-wheel drive architecture has been paired with a performance-tuned independent rear suspension and magnetic dampers that read the road surface 50 times per second and adjust in real time. What this means practically is that the GT500 can be devastatingly precise through a corner and then remarkably composed on a long motorway cruise. The dual nature of this car is one of its most underappreciated qualities. It does not make you choose between comfort and performance. It gives you both. The price for this level of machine sits in the range of approximately $110,000 to $130,000 US, depending on configuration and optional packages. That is a significant number, but measured against what Ford is delivering in engineering, technology, and presence, it begins to feel like value. And who is this car actually for? It is not just for the track day enthusiast, though this car will satisfy that person completely. It is not just for the collector, though this car will absolutely appreciate in cultural significance over time. The 2026 GT500 is for the person who refuses to accept that a practical road-legal car must compromise on drama. It is for the driver who wants to feel something every single time the engine fires. It is for someone who understands that an automobile, at its highest expression, is not just transportation. It is an experience, an identity, and occasionally, a piece of rolling art. There is something interesting happening in the broader car world right now. Every manufacturer is racing toward electrification, toward screens and silence and seamlessness. And Ford, to its considerable credit, has looked at that trend and decided that the Mustang GT500 exists to offer something irreplaceable. The raw, analog, visceral thrill of a naturally supercharged American V8 wrapped in the most technologically sophisticated package this nameplate has ever carried. It is not fighting the future. It is making a case that some things from the past are worth keeping, worth preserving, and worth making extraordinary. This is a car that turns heads not because it is flashy, but because it is genuinely different, because it carries 60 years of heritage and points it directly at tomorrow. Because when you see it in the dark, those sequential lights firing up, that gold trim catching the light, that low silhouette crouched and ready, you do not ask what car it is. You already know. You have always known. The 2026 Ford Mustang GT500 is not just a new model year. It is a statement from Ford that the muscle car is not finished. It has not peaked. It has, in fact, only just begun. If this video gave you a new perspective on what the GT500 represents, hit that like button. It genuinely helps this channel reach more people who care about cars the way we do. Subscribe if you want to be the first to know when we drop our next deep dive. And drop a comment below telling me one feature from this car that surprised you most. I read every single one.